Welcome back, and you're watching the WRX channel. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and watching the videos. I do WRX content and Mark V Supra content, so stay subscribed if you haven't subscribed yet. When you get done watching this video, browse through the other videos on my channel and see if any of those interest you as well, and consider subscribing. Thanks for being here. Last fall, I installed the iDoing Android head unit for my WRX. This is a 2017 Premium. So that was in the fall. So we're going on over a year, getting close to a year and a half ownership on this. So I wanted to do a follow-up video of things I liked and things I didn't like, and share that and see what you guys think of it as well. If you haven't seen my install video for the head unit, check it out.
Oh, you have some bull crap to install on your rice mobile?
What if I install an Android head unit? Will that make you happy?
Well, yeah, that actually sounds pretty awesome. Let's do that.
It is very detailed, probably one of the most detailed videos step by step on installing that head unit. So that is going to be applicable for your WRX or STI, and it's going to be pretty similar on a Subaru Crosstrek or Forester, or things that will fit as well for that iDoing head unit. So check that out. So here it is, the iDoing head unit. So they have models of this that will work on your WRX or STI, and I believe Crosstrek and Forester options as well. So I got this off of AliExpress. So one thing I would say is you want to be sure on the model of head unit you're getting. There are many different variations to the wiring harnesses, as far as base model WRXs or STI, premium or limited editions, or if you have the Harman Kardon setup. This also has Harman Kardon. That did require a CAN bus encoder decoder box that had to be added to this as well during the installation process. So when you're ordering your unit, just make sure it is for your supported trim level. So let's see what we have on here. So again, this is just the home screen. And what is so neat about this, it is essentially a 9-inch Android tablet. Anything you could do on a regular phone, Android phone, you can do on this as well. So I'm in my garage right now, so I can still reach my home Wi-Fi. So I could just turn my Wi-Fi on. Connected, home screen. Then yeah, so you want to watch YouTube. There we go. Home. Pretty cool. So any app that you could have on an Android phone theoretically will work on this. The screen is actually really good. I am really impressed with the screen quality on this thing. Let's back out. So yeah, it'll even put that down in the corner when you're running. Now, what I use this most for is obviously just playing music. Let me show you. So the base music player, so this is just MP3s playing off of the storage from the device. So this does have 64 gigabytes of internal memory, and I also ran 3 of the included USB adapters. Those actually run to the glove box over here. So I put in a USB drive, and you could run them directly off the USB drive for those MP3s, or copy them over to the internal storage on here. So I did that. So there's like a file manager, so you can copy your things over. So if you had a USB drive, so right there it's on internal. If you had a USB drive, it would show that as another available options. So you could find where your MP3 files were. If they were on the USB drive, select those folders, and it'll give you like copy paste options on there. So that's pretty slick. So once you have those on there, the base music player is just this one here. So it is pretty generic looking, not a lot of stuff going on, but it gets the job done. It does have some options here like equalizer. So this is the equalizer for the entire iDoing unit. I like it on, see how it's on rock. So you could go in here and specify every spectrum that you wanted to on the band, but it does have these presets. I think rock sounds the best. So there are some of the other preset options. Rock sounds the best to me, but if you really crank up the volume, it does break up at louder volumes. If you want it to go even louder, standard sounds better at very high volumes. It as far as not breaking up, but I think for overall sound quality on the presets, rock sounds the best. So there is just the standard MP3 player, but again, this is an Android. We can do whatever we want. So on my phone, I use this one, Museo player. So I downloaded that and put it on this unit as well. I like this one a lot if you're playing MP3s. So it kind of looks familiar to the old Google MP3 player. It has different themes. You can select different backgrounds and things like that. So it has it broken down song by song, albums, like artists. You can do playlists, you can create folders. So you can just put that on shuffle, let it go for days. It's pretty great. So I got like probably 2,500 MP3s on here. You just let it shuffle. Sometimes I noticed the shuffle pattern wasn't the best. Like I would hear repeated songs like within a week or two. And another thing I tried out is I just went to songs and I started with like the first song and just started playing through like all 2,500 songs. And I let that run and it was going for probably like 2.5 months and I only got to the G's alphabetically. So that's a good way to hear everything you want to hear and a kind of the ultimate shuffle. So that is pretty neat as far as if you have your own music. Got the garage door closed so we don't have as much reflection on the screen. So the Z-Link app, that is what you're going to use for a wired USB connection for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So I have my USB cable, USB-C, just kept in my glove box. So I got an Android phone. Let's plug this in for Android Auto. Okay, you'll notice up at the top, you'll get that triangle. That is telling us that Android Auto is running. So we'll look on here and it has jumped into the Z-Link app all by itself. So you got your Google Maps, those are great. You can put all your streaming services, again, you can download those from the Google Play Store, any app you want. So Pandora or Spotify or whatever you want on there. Apple Music, Amazon Music, so like Pandora. It works great. The majority of people are going to be using streaming apps. That's probably what you're going to be using this head unit for most of the time. One thing I tested out recently is that this will actually connect wirelessly to iPhones. My friend has a newer iPhone 13. I'm not sure if it's model specific, but we were able to connect this wirelessly to this head unit for Apple CarPlay. So that was really neat. I have a video clip of that. So we'll turn Wi-Fi on.
Turn Wi-Fi on.
There you go. See it good.
It's connecting.
It says it's connecting, but this is the part that took a while.
And then that's it.
It says turn Bluetooth off. So it goes through Wi-Fi.
For Apple.
There you go. So at this time, I don't know if this will support wireless Android Auto. I wasn't successful doing that. I tried a Carlin kit wireless adapter and got pretty frustrated with that if you saw that video. And I could not get that to work wirelessly. Basically, it said it was for head units that were Android, but didn't have Android Auto, but you could use the USB adapter to get Android Auto. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, it does have the capability for the Android Auto through wired. So the functionality is pretty great. Having your own tablet in your car basically makes the car feel a little newer, a little more advanced technology in there for you. So let me show you some of the things that annoyed me. And this, embarrassingly, let me show you guys this. So there's this touch assistant. So what it does is it puts a little dot on your screen. You can move it anywhere all over the screen, but it stays on the screen. So whether you're whatever corner or position you are in, it's going to be in the way at some point. I had that on there for about a year and I could not figure out how to turn it off. So I just went through every possibility I could think of within the settings menu for the iDoing system itself. Well, it turns out it was another app on this like tertiary page that I didn't know about. It's this touch assistant. I was like, what the heck? So I finally discovered what that is. You see how it put that dot up there? So again, look in that top left, disappeared. So the whole time I had this head unit, I always had this stupid little dot and it was always in the way. So I like try to put it in the corner, you know, move it over here, wherever. It was always in the way. So the purpose of that, which I find not very helpful at all, is it gives you like these quick setting buttons, which I never use, and I was just annoyed that I always had this stupid dot in the way. So just recently I found out that it is in here in this touch assistant. So look for that. If that's on your unit and it's bugging the heck out of you, that's where that is. So what else about this? One thing I can say, let me open up the garage again so we can get some more light in here. So if you look over here, these are the soft buttons on here. So you got like power, home, back, volume up, volume down. You're honestly hardly ever going to use those because you also have a home button right up here on the top. You're hardly ever going to use those, especially the volume. If you can see that, so you got the volume up, volume down right there. So when you're within an app, like in here, you'll use you know, track forward or back if you want to, but you're probably not going to do that either because you're going to be using your steering wheel controls for pretty much everything. So the volume up, track forward, track back, mute, things like that. One thing I can say, I'd say one of the biggest complaints I have about this is your muscle memory to having a physical volume knob. So it's been over a year, almost a year and a half having this unit, but I still find myself reaching for the volume knob right there. So with this, you got to use either the soft keys or the steering wheel controls. And 99% of the time, you're going to be using the steering wheel controls. The majority of the time, this goes into a standby mode. When you turn the car off and you jump back in, it starts right back up. I notice if I leave the car sitting for 1 or 2 or more days, when I start it back up, it will actually reboot. It'll have like a Subaru logo and then a Google logo, and it will take about 30 seconds to a minute to boot up. But most of the time it's in that hibernate mode, comes right back up, is really nice. When I first installed this, the main thing I was concerned about, because I play my own MP3s, the load time on the stock Subaru Starlink head unit, it sucked a lot. Like I wouldn't have a lot of MP3s on there, like 2 to 5 gig, but it would take a very long time to load those MP3s as far as the lists of the artists, the albums, and the songs themselves. It always took a good amount of time to load every single time I got in the car, and that was super frustrating. So as far as my major hope that this would resolve it, it did. So I can't complain about that. One thing that I have had happen a couple times, this has frozen on me a couple times. That was pretty scary. I thought it was dead the first time it happened. So I got a black screen with kind of some LCD pixelated lines across it, like there was something wrong with the LCD display. So want to see something awesome that just started happening with this head unit? Oh yeah. So that was really scary. And what I ended up doing, there's actually a little reset button up here. So there's microphone, then there's a reset button. So I stuck the end of a paper clip in there and just reset it. And it did reboot and it came back up. That has happened twice, I believe, in the last year or so. So something to keep in mind, a little frustrating. I guess it can be kind of similar to how a cell phone can crash sometimes, right? So kind of how I have this ran, there is a microphone right there. So it's on some gator teeth that I two-sided taped right there under the instrument cluster. And again, we have our USBs just ran to the glove box here. So there's 3 available USBs if you have thumbsticks or run a USB cable to your phone. The center console USBs that it came with, I am not using those. There wasn't an immediate solution to wire those to the center console, but that's fine. In the glove box is just as good for me. So as far as the navigation that came with it, let me show you this. The iDoing head unit does have its own navigation, but I am really not a fan. Here's how long it takes to load up. And I just think it's really ugly looking and not very intuitive. I prefer the Google Maps much better. So on your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, just use the Google Maps. So the screen quality is really good. You're not going to be able to tell too much on just going over my camera, but the display quality is very nice. So this is a test demo video that came with it. So it has like just different palette colors, red, green, blue, things like that. Things to show off the quality of the display. And it is quite great, to be honest with you. There's the reds, the greens. Yeah. So, display quality, it's pretty top notch as far as I'm concerned. When I first got this, I was really excited to have that 9-inch display to be able to use for the backup camera. I thought that would look great. The problem is the backup camera itself from Subaru, I believe, is pretty low resolution. So it doesn't look too bad when you have a smaller screen, but once you blow up that image onto this high resolution 9-inch display, you can just see how pixelated and pretty crappy it looks. So let's see if I can do this, hold the camera and back up. So there's the image. Kind of got to see it in person, but it looks pretty low quality, to be honest with you. Yeah, the Supra's camera looks way better. Even the head unit I put in my truck, just a like cheap Pioneer and then a $20 backup camera, looks better than this. But I don't think that's the display's fault. I think that's a cheap camera from Subaru. Let me show you the worst thing about this so far. So I have it back out in the sunlight here so you can see the #1 thing that drives me nuts about this. So within the first couple months I started noticing it. Look at all that dust. It is underneath of the glass. So in between the glass and the actual LCD. I got my Swiffer, but yeah, it's underneath the glass. So this is at its worst when it's in direct sunlight. You just really see it, especially on a black background. So that was really disappointing. When it's darker, you don't notice it. Again, just in the direct sunlight. Let's see if we have a different background. So that's still dark. I'm just trying to pick something with some color in it. Yeah, you can still see how bad the dust is in there. So I would say that was the worst thing about this head unit. So maybe I just got unlucky with this. Maybe yours won't have that problem. Overall, would I recommend this though? I would say yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it was about $300 and $350. Remember to get your specific trim level. When you're ordering it, say you got it off of AliExpress, make sure it specifies, you know, if you have the premium trim or if it's a STI base model or whatever your particular case may be. Because like I said, the wiring harnesses are going to be different from trim level to trim level. So make sure you get that right. So yeah, there's a few majorly disappointing things with it, mostly with that dust getting under the glass there. As you can see here out of the sunlight, you can't even tell, but when the sun does hit that, that's pretty disappointing that that had happened. Hopefully, if you get this, that's not going to be an issue for you. Not having the physical knob is kind of a bummer as well, just because it's nice to have that tactile button that you can get to. But you are getting this 9-inch tablet, basically. I think it's pretty sweet. Apple Play Store, you can download anything and put on here. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I would say, let's give this a 7.5 out of 10. It was a learning experience putting this thing in. Again, if you haven't seen that install video, very detailed install video, probably the most detailed install video on YouTube, check that out, and I'll take you step by step for installing one of these. If I do it again, yeah, I'd do it again. I think this thing's pretty sweet. My main thing is I wanted my USBs to load faster as far as my MP3s, the load time for the artists and the songs and the folders. That is pretty great. And plus this has the standby mode, boots up almost instantaneously most of the time. Here's how fast this unit boots up. So we'll turn it off. Then we'll start the car back up. Get right back into our music. Boom. Loads instantly. So I would say if you were considering it, go for it. Those are some of my experiences, and hopefully that'll help you out. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. If you found this helpful, hit that thumbs up button. If you like WRX content or Mark V Super content, consider subscribing, browse through the other videos on my channel, see if any of those interest you as well. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm out.